Let me describe a company. 180 million in revenue, strong products, good engineers, a sales team that hustles, and no head of pricing, no deal desk. And the list price? It hasn't been touched in 14 months. When a rep wants to discount more than 10%, one regional manager eyeballs it. Well, if she catches it before the order ships. And every quarter, and like clockwork, the discounts spike. Nobody's tracking price realization week to week. Sounds familiar? Here's the thing, that's not a broken company. That's a normal company. That's what most of the mid-market companies look like. I'm Enrico Sieni, and I'm a co-founder at Revify Analytics. I've spent 20 plus years leading pricing for manufacturers and distributors, and I want to name a gap that almost nobody talks about. You see, in mid-market manufacturing, call it $10 million to $1 billion in revenue, pricing isn't a strategy problem, it's an execution problem. You staff up operations, sales, engineering, but pricing, it gets treated like paperwork. Somebody updates a spreadsheet once a year and calls it a pricing strategy. And the margin just leaks out from the bottom. When we run a profit diagnostic at Revify Analytics, we see the same 3 leaks almost every single time. First, off-invoice leakage. Freight allowances, early payment terms, rebate accruals, one-off credits. None of it shows up in your discount report. And it quietly eats 200 to 600 basis points of margin. Half of your discounting is invisible. Second, discount drift. Your policy says that nobody goes past 8% without approval. But the real average is 14 and climbing. Why? Because the approval lives outside the quoting workflow. So it never really actually happens. Third, rep variance. 2 reps, same kind of territory, same products, and one's pocket margin is 600 basis points worse than the other. Regional reporting hides this, so nobody ever asks why. And this is the key point. None of that is a strategy failure. It's not an analytics failure, it's an execution failure. No governance, no decision rights, no review rhythm, nobody accountable. So the obvious move is just hire a head of pricing, right? Well, let's run the math. A senior pricing leader, fully loaded, runs you about $250,000 to $350,000 a year. Add an analyst, a deal desk coordinator, some software tool like a CPQ tool. Now you are $700,000 to $1 million a year. And that's even before you recovered a single dollar of margin. And if you are under $100 million in revenue, your CFO looks at that and says, you want me to spend 0.5% of revenue on a brand new function with no proven payback? That business case almost never passes unless a tariff shock or a covenant breach forces it. So the need is real, but the headcount just can't justify itself. And that's the trap. And here's what actually fixes it. And notice, none of it is a fancier price list. Number 1, decision rights. You build a discount matrix with bands. 0 to 5%, the rep just owns it. 5 to 10, the manager approves it with a reason code. 10 to 15, finance signs off with documented justification. Go below floor, that's an executive call. So you just replace whoever yells the loudest with actual rules. Number 2, cadence. A weekly exception review and a monthly price realization scorecard. Because a policy in a binder does nothing. A rhythm, a standing meeting where someone has to explain the outliers, that's what creates accountability. Number 3, workflow. The deal desk. When a rep builds a quote, the system shows guidance pricing, flags the deviation, demands a reason code, routes the approvals automatically. The discipline lives inside the tool, not in someone's good intentions. And the research backs this up. Bain found companies that are confident in their pricing execution out-earn their peers by 5 to 11 points of margin. McKinsey sees 2 to 7 points of sustained improvement, often inside 3 to 6 months. So the size of the price changes by industry, but the mechanism really never does. Now, you got 3 options on the table, and they solve different problems. First option is enterprise software. Vendavo, PriceFX, Zilliant, and so on. Powerful stuff. But it's a 6 to 12 month deployment, and if your governance is broken, software just automates the dysfunction faster. Second option is, of course, top-tier consulting. Bain, McKinsey, Simon Kucher, brilliant strategy, board credibility, and a price tag from 350,000 to $1 million plus. But when the engagement ends, often the playbook walks out the door with a partner, so sustainment becomes your actual problem. The third option, which is of course what we advocate, is a virtual pricing team. It's borrowed pricing senior leadership, the governance and the deal desk installed and operated alongside your people until it sticks and it becomes yours. And Simon Kucher's global study puts a hard number on why that matters. Across more than 2,200 leaders, companies capture less than half of their planned price increases. Less than half. And that gap is not strategy, it's execution infrastructure. And let's make it real with a real-life example, which of course we anonymized. A $180 million medtech manufacturer came to us for a profit diagnostic. And walking in, 47% of the deals had sales-driven discount exceptions. No deal desk, margin only got looked at monthly or even quarterly close. We found $3.2 million in annual leakage just as low-hanging fruit. 200 SKUs were losing money after promo allowances. A third of the rep were quoting below corridor and nobody knew. So over the next few months, we put in the discount matrix, two-stage approval above 8%, a monthly governance led by finance, and a deal desk on a 24-hour clock. And we tied a slice of sales comp to margin quality, not just bookings. By month 9, exception rate dropped from 47% to 18%. Price realization up 180 basis points. And the segments with real enforcements got a 5% net price lift. And here's my favorite part. The cadence kept running after we left. And that's the whole point. So if any of this sounds like your business, the stale list pricing, the quarter-end discount spike, the margin you can feel leaking but you cannot see, you don't need $1 million pricing department to fix it. You need an operating model and someone to run it with you until it's yours. That's what we do. It starts with a profit diagnostic. We map your pocket price waterfall straight from your invoice data and hand you a size prioritized 90-day plan. You don't need perfect data. You just need a start. I'm Enrico Sieni with Revify Analytics. Let's go find your $3 million opportunity.